Today's parsha is double portion Matos Masai, but because we spent almost the entire time on Monday's discussion on Masai, we're going to go backwards now and talk about Matos. Parshas Matos has three major themes. You have the theme of the first part, which is the theme of the vows. Person who makes a vow and how we can annul a vow. We discussed that in Tractate Nedarim recently in the Daf Yomi. The next major theme is the theme of the Moshe was told to send the Jewish people in battle against the Midianites, and I'd like to talk about that. And then the third major theme is the battle of Reuven and Gad, the desire of Reuven and Gad to stay on the other side of the Jordan and to not inherit the land of Canaan, and how Moshe reacted to that. But first, the first part I'd like to start with is the story of the battle Moshe Rabbeinu does. As it says in chapter 31, that God says to Moshe, Nikom nikmas b'nei Yisrael es hamidyanim, go take a battle against the Midianites, and achar tiasef elamecha, and after you battle against the Midianites, then you will die. So Moshe Rabbeinu was told that this is going to be the last thing he does. So, you would think that Moshe Rabbeinu would slow down then. Like there's a story about a guy who's drowning out in the ocean, and then they sent a helicopter to try and save him. And he said, "No, don't worry about saving me. I took a vow that I'm going to finish Shas before I die. So don't worry, I'm not worried I'm going to die. You don't have to send a helicopter to me." Meaning to say he thinks he's protected. So Moshe Rabbeinu had an easy way out from dying. He's not going to fight the Midianites yet, but nevertheless, he went in right away. Now, why is he fighting against the Midianites? Weren't the Moabites the first one who started to fight with him before the Midianites? But what happened was that the Moabites made peace with the Midianites and brought the Midianites into the battle. And so because they entered into a battle that had nothing to do with them, because really the Jewish people were not threatening the Midianites, so therefore Hashem says, take revenge against the Midianites. Now, as part of this battle, Moshe says to the people, go out and take revenge against the Midianites. He sends 1,000 people from each tribe. And Moshe sends out Pinchas to lead the battle. Pinchas ben Elazar Kohen. And then the Torah tells us that they killed the kings of Midian, and they killed the men, and they also killed Bilaam ben Baor. Bilaam ben Baor hargu becharev. So they killed Bilaam. So the Midrash asks, the Gemara in Sanhedrin in Perek Chelek says, what was Bilaam doing there? I want to talk for a few moments about Bilaam because it connects to something from our Daf Yomi from today. Whenever the Daf Yomi relates to the parsha, I always like to discuss it. So Gemara asks, Bilaam, my boy, awesome. What was Bilaam doing there? Wasn't Bilaam in Aram Naharaim? So what was he doing there? So says Rabbi Yochanan, he went to take his reward, his salary for the 24,000 Jews that died. How did the 24,000 Jews die? Because Bilaam had come and he encouraged the Midianite women to seduce the Jewish men, and that's how they died. So therefore, Bilaam was the one who they killed with the sword at that time. And there's another reference to Bilaam, because it says, the verse then continues, that they took the cattle, they took the booty, and Moshe Rabbeinu gets very upset because he says, you let the women live. Moshe says, Hachayitim kol nekeva, you let these women live. They were the ones who caused you to go astray. And this is the verse, chapter 30, verse 16. Heina you b'nei Yisrael b'dvar Bilaam, M'sor mal ba'Hashem. This was the Jew. They were the ones who, at the advice of Bilaam, caused the Jewish people to trespass. Al devar pa'or v'atihima gefa b'adat Hashem. Meaning to say that Bilaam caused the Jewish people to trespass and sin with the Midianite women. And so therefore, every woman who has over a certain age, Moshe said they had to be killed right there on the spot. Obviously, this is the type of death in the Bible that appears, the type of killing in war, which is very hard for us to understand today. But the basic point is that the Torah holds Bilaam responsible. What does it mean, b'dbar Bilaam, by the word of Bilaam? What do you mean that they trespassed by the word of Bilaam? Rashi tells us what happened. Rashi tells us that Bilaam said to the Moabites, "Afilu atem machnisim kol hamonot sheba'olam ein atem yacholin lahem." Even if you bring all the nations of the world to attack against the Jewish people, you won't be victorious. Shema merubim atem min hamitzrim. Are you more numerous than the Egyptians who had 600 chariots? I'm going to give you advice. I'll give you proper advice. What's the advice? This God of the Jews, Sonei Zimahu. He hates Zima. He hates prurience. He hates licentiousness. So therefore he wants. So what he told them to do was to send the Midianite women to cause the Jewish people to sin. And therefore Bilaam is the one who's held responsible. And therefore the Jewish people killed Bilaam by the sword here. Now what happened to Bilaam? What happened to Bilaam in the end? So about this, we have to go to today's Daf Yomi. Because what happened to Bilaam? The Talmud tells us the following story. Talmud tells us that Onkelos was somebody who was thinking of converting. He was the nephew of the wicked Titus. Titus is the one who destroyed the temple, and he was the son of Titus's sister. So before he decided to convert to the Jewish people, he decided to let me speak to the people who are the enemies of the Jewish people. So he called up Titus from hell. He calls up Titus from the next world. And he says to Titus, by the way, there's another Gemara with Onkelos. Before we get to this one, there's another Gemara in Avodah Zarah that discusses that Onkelos was thinking of converting, and they sent a garrison from Rome to bring him back. And every time they sent a group, he convinced that group to convert to Judaism. Finally, they sent another group, and they were told, this group that came from Rome was told, do not allow him to speak to you. But all Onkelos did was look at the mezuzah, and then they started asking him about the mezuzah, and then Onkelos was able to convert them that way. But in this case, Onkelos was not yet ready to convert, so he wasn't sure. He went to Titus. He said, who is considered to be distinguished in the next world? And Titus said, the Jewish people. So he said, should I become Jewish? And Titus said, no, don't become Jewish, because their mitzvos are too hard to keep. It's too hard to keep all their mitzvos. So he said, what should I do? He said, attack them. And then if you attack the Jews and you torment them, then you'll become, people will elevate you in your world, in the world you live in. And, you'll become if you become a public anti-Semite, people will honor you. And that's what Titus told him to do. Then came along Bilaam. He takes Bilaam up through his magic, through his black magic. He takes Bilaam up from the ground. So he takes Bilaam up from the ground, and he says to Bilaam, Man chashiv b'hayam. He says to Bilaam, who is considered to be distinguished in this next world? And Bilaam says, the Jewish people are the ones who are most distinguished in this world to come. So Onkelos says to him, should I become Jewish? And Bilaam says, no, don't seek out their welfare all the days. Meaning to say, don't do anything good for them. Don't try to help them at all. So then the Gemara says, what's the punishment? What's your status in the next world? So Bilaam was given a very, very bad punishment. He was being boiled every day in boiling male seed. In the seed that emanates from a man, they had buckets of that, and Bilaam was boiling in it. This is the imagination of the Gemara. And Rashi says this is measure for measure, because with his counsel, he advised hold on one second. With his counsel, he advised the people to sin, the daughters of Midian or the daughters of Moab to sin against the Jewish people. So that's why he gets that specific punishment. Meaning to say, that's what Rashi says. A different commentary says it's because it was his love of women. They loved women so much, and so therefore it took over his whole body and his whole soul, and that's why he was being boiled alive with this. Those are the two major approaches. So the Reb Chaim Shmulevitz asks a question about this. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says, I don't understand. I could understand why in this world, while you're still in this world, we could understand why some people could be anti-Semitic, anti the Jewish people. They could be so upset with fine. But we could understand that. But Bilaam is already in the next world. He's being boiled alive in the zera of men. Why would he think that he would give the advice to Unkelos that this is what you should continue? So it doesn't make any sense. Why would he tell them not to look out for the welfare of the Jewish people under those circumstances? So Reb Chaim Shmulevitz points out to this, that somebody could be so immersed in their wrongful ideology or in their sinful manner, in their mistaken path, that even when they're in the Gehenna, even when they're down in the depths of hell, they still don't still don't understand they still don't know how to get out of their own way. Even when they're in such a dark place that they're literally in hell, they can't get out of this. So let me just pause for a second. I saw somebody trying to ask something. Just pause for a second. Just say a little bit more about this. That the commentaries, I'll just finish a couple of commentaries. Why did Bilaam say that while he was in heaven or while he was in the next world, why did he say don't seek out the benefit and the welfare of the Jews? So the Maharsha explains, the Maharsha is a late Rishon. He's in the later Middle Ages. He says that Bilaam was also like the reincarnated soul of Lavan. And about Lavan, it says in the middle of the night, be careful, don't speak with Jacob from anything good until bad. And so therefore he says, don't seek out their good all the days, meaning to say, even if you try to speak out good, it will be a problem. Yaakov Emden gives a different approach. He says that Rav Yaakov Emden says, so since Bilaam said that the Jewish people are the most distinguished people in the world, why does he think that Unkelos will then listen to him when he says don't seek out their welfare? If they're the most distinguished people in the next world, clearly Unkelos should want to be part of them. So Rav Yaakov Emden answers that Bilaam thought that since the Unkelos would want to be free from any responsibilities in this world, and so therefore he thought that it would be better for him in this world than in the world to come. He still didn't change his perspective. And so therefore he says, you know what, even though you can have it all in the next world, live for this moment and don't worry about what's going to happen to you in the next world. So that's the basic approaches to this Gemara, and I just wanted to share it because it connects with the Daf Yomi for today. So now that we said that, let me hold on one second. Let me start a new theme.